Hi students, welcome to Shekhar's History Classes, Delhi. In this video, we will analyze the causes for the decline of Mauryan Empire. Here the question says, discuss the causes of the decline of Mauryan Empire. Now, if you see the map, during Mauryan Empire means the dynasty was Mauryan dynasty, whereas the empire name is Magadha Empire. If you see during 6th century BCE, Magadha was one of the 16 Mahajanapadas. And from 6th century BCE, due to various factors, Magadha became very strong empire, and in the history of India, Magadha assumed the proportions of large empire for the first time in history. And one of the dynasties which ruled Magadhan Empire is Mauryan Empire. And this is the time period of Ashoka. When Ashoka ruled, almost entire Indian subcontinent was under single authority, that is Mauryan authority. And later, after 2nd century, by 185 BC, after 185 BC, once again this centralized empire got disintegrated. Various regional powers emerged like Shunga Empire, Shatavahana Empire, here Bactrian kingdoms and various other Central Asian republics, Central Asian people came and established their kingdoms in northwestern part of India. So what are the causes for decline of such a great Mauryan Empire? This is the crux of this question. Broadly, some historians highlighted few factors. Some historians mainly focused on Brahmanical reaction as the cause for the decline of Mauryan Empire. Some historians highlighted financial crisis is the cause for the decline of Mauryan Empire. But if you see, combination of all these factors are the major factors for the decline of Mauryan Empire. All these factors we can group under: one is Brahmanical reaction, financial crisis, oppressive rule, new knowledge in the outlying areas, neglect of the northwestern frontier and Great Wall of China are the major contributing factors for the cause of decline of Mauryan Empire. Let us analyze one by one. Why some historians said Brahmanical reaction is the major reason behind the downfall of Mauryan Empire? Because they give the evidence that Ashoka followed Dhamma policy. It is a peaceful policy, and he prohibited the killing of birds and animals. And he issued instructions which are anti-sacrifice, and he did not allow the people to sacrifice animals during the festival times. It is the anti-sacrifice attitude of Buddhism or peaceful policy of Buddhism. Ashoka adopted these policies in his state policy, and it affected the incomes of Brahmanas. This is the evidence provided by historians who says because of disaffection, because of resentment in the Brahmanical community, when they got the opportunity, they overthrew Mauryan Empire and established Brahmanical dynasty. Because the Mauryan Empire was replaced with the Shunga dynasty. Shungas belonged to Brahmanical community, and once they came to power, they started once again exploring the Dharma Shastras and Brahmanical traditions like horse sacrifices and other Vedic sacrifices were revived. And here Ashoka, he asked his administrators to follow same civil and criminal law for all sections of people. It is like uniform civil code in modern times. But it goes against the Brahmanical Dharma Shastra, because this Dharma Shastra prescribed Varna discrimination and different laws for different Varnas in Brahmanical Dharma Shastras. Whereas Ashoka issued same civil and criminal law across spectrum of the society. Because of this, there is resentment, and finally Brahmanical general, his name is Pushyamitra Shunga, he replaced Mauryan Emperor Brihadrada by killing him. And also, along with Shungas, Kanvas were also there, and Shatavahanas in Deccan, Shatavahanas, Shungas and Kanvas, all these people belong to Brahmanical community, and Shatavahanas also claimed to be Brahmanas. They all revived Vedic sacrifices and performed sacrifices like horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, which were discarded or discouraged by Ashoka. So these are the evidences, but the critical analysis is some resentment is there definitely in Brahmanical community, but it is not the only factor for its decline, because Ashoka in his own inscription he asked people to respect Brahmanical community as well. He asked people to have peaceful relations with the Brahmanas, and also asked to respect each and every other religion as well. So this is one critical aspect about Brahmanical reaction. Second reason given by historians is financial crisis, and the evidence which provided by historians is was huge army, because Mauryans followed centralized administration. For centralized administration, they had centralized army, centralized bureaucracy, and to maintain such a grandeur army and bureaucracy, state need to put a lot of finances, and these finances in the long run were not sustainable, and because of this there was huge burden on the empire. And this was the largest army ever in the history till that time, and the largest regiment of officers were maintained by the state, and huge superstructure is possible only because of strong finances. But if there is crisis in the financial system, then this entire superstructure is about to collapse. This is what happened in case of Mauryan Empire, and finally Mauryan Empire collapsed on its own weight. Large donations to Buddhist monks. Here, in addition to maintenance of administration, Ashoka and other successors also gave large donations to Buddhist monks, which emptied the treasury. And finally, it obliged the state to melt gold images to to satisfy the needs of the state. This is the evidence given by historians for the decline of Mauryan Empire. So definitely this financial crisis is one of the major reasons, and however it is not the only reason. So the conclusion part you have to write, it is not all these factors contributed for the decline of Mauryan Empire. Next important reason was oppressive rule. During Bindusara time period, Bindusara means son of Chandragupta Maurya and father of Ashoka. During his lifetime, there was complaints against the administrators. During the citizens of Takshila, they complained against the misrule of bureaucrats, Dushtamatyas. And when Ashoka was there in the central part of India as Viceroy, Bimbisara sent Ashoka to Takshila to redress the grievances of people. Grievances were addressed by appointment of Ashoka. Ashoka came here and he satisfied the needs of the people, and he suppressed the revolts. When Ashoka himself became the emperor, once again there were complaints in the same region, and he tried to resolve it peacefully. Because of all these things, he asked his own administrators and bureaucrats not to harass or not to be tyrant against the people. Here Kalinga edict says Ashoka asked the Mahamatras not to tyrannize people, not to harass people while collecting the taxes, and be friendly with the people. So these are the instructions given during lifetime of Ashoka himself. So this shows that there is some kind of oppressive rule also in some pockets of the empire. When there was no strong ruler, when there was no enlightened despots like Ashoka, the successors of Ashoka could not manage this kind of oppressive rule, and finally it led to the decline of Mauryan Empire, because local rulers try to gain the prominence in the administration. Whenever they get opportunity, they replace the existing structure. One more reason was new knowledge in the outlying areas. If you see in the 6th century BC, the causes for the rise of Magadha peculiarly it enjoys certain factors comparing with other 15 Mahajanapadas like iron technology, agriculture, trading, second urbanization. These are all important factors which improved the material condition of people. This material condition increased the state taxes, and because of this, Magadha Empire, Magadha Kingdom or Magadha Mahajanapada, it expanded gradually and became first empire in history. But by the time of Mauryans, now this kind of material culture, iron technology, agriculture technology, all these spread, this knowledge spread to other parts of the country as well. Now these areas also became rich. Now these areas have their own aspirations to dominate the neighboring territory. And if you see this, Gangetic Basin lost its special advantage of iron technology material culture. Shungas, Kanvas in central India, they were very strong, and Chedis in Kalinga region was strong, and Satavahanas in the Deccan region. Because of all these, now these peoples, these different regional satraps or regional provincial governors, they became very powerful and they started dominating the politics of the day. That's why the new knowledge in outlying areas also one of the major reasons for decline of Mauryan Empire. And finally, a neglect of northwest frontier and Great Wall of China. Here in Central Asia, there were tribes. These people were nomads. They were in continuous flow or in the flux. They used to move towards eastern side and southern side. But China, around 220 BC, they constructed a wall, that is Great Wall of China. This wall of China, here you can see Chinese constructed Great Wall of China in about 220 BC. Here the tribes which were pushing the Chinese towards east, now they were forced to go back. Now they forced to look for southern direction. Now when these developments were happening in the Indian subcontinent, here ruler Ashoka, even during Ashoka time, he was busy in missionary activities, promoting Dhamma, peaceful policy. Because of this reason, here neglect of northwestern frontier gates neglected. Here one pass is there, that is Khyber Pass, and some other passes. Here most important point is Khyber Pass. During this through Khyber Pass only even Alexander also entered in the northwestern part of India. And these tribes also now started pushing down, and the tribes which settled here, now they were pushed further down. Through Khyber Pass they entered northwestern part of India. So when he was busy in missionary activities, less attention was given to northwestern frontier, and when the northern wardens of this watch were weak, now the invasions started emerging. The Scythians, when Scythians pushed down, here during this location, Greeks, Parthians, Shakas were there. They were pushed further. Now they entered into mainland. If you see, Greeks were settled in Bactria region. After Alexander the Great, here many Greek kingdoms emerged. These Greek kingdoms mainly located in Afghanistan area, and here from Greeks, Chandragupta Maurya conquered some of these territories and integrated with Mauryan Empire. But now after the decline of Mauryan power, these Greeks once again started invading the northwestern frontiers. They were the first after Mauryas to invade Indian mainland in 206 BC. So this is another major factor. One is Great Wall of China and many tribal kingdoms, and they pushed further down. This led to the invasions, and when empire or emperor in India was weak or did not give much attention to the northwestern part, this led to invasions. So here the Mauryan Empire was finally destroyed. Now when such kind of activities or disturbances were going on in different parts of the country, here invasions were going on in different places. revolts against suppression, revolts against the oppressive rule, and different material culture also spread. Now regional governors are becoming ambitious. Under these circumstances, in 185 BC, one of the generals of Mauryan Emperor Brihadrada, called Pushyamitra Shunga, he killed his master and finally replaced Mauryan Empire or Mauryan dynasty with a new dynasty called Shunga dynasty. This is how Mauryan Empire ended, and these are the various causes for decline of Mauryan Empire. Once again, Mahajanapada, small kingdom during 6th century BCE, expanded into this portion during Ashoka time period, and once again after weak rulers emerged, once again it got declined. Various different kingdoms or empires emerged in place of Mauryan Empire. Thank you.